Hi! I recently switched from developing in Unity to Godot. So far, it's been a great experience. When I was using Unity, I made a party fighting game called Tomato Soup Splashdown. This time though, I wanted to make a different genre of game. I decided on a roguelite game. The terminology is sort of murky, but as I understand it, a roguelite game is similar to a roguelike game, which is a game where you make your way through procedurally generated levels, and if you die, you have to restart completely. A roguelite differs because you can unlock things as you adventure that can affect your later runs, so there's more of a sense of progress. Anyway, I got to brainstorming about what my roguelite game should be about. I decided on a theme of various forms of art creation. Players will use art supplies to color in each level while fighting off attackers. I made a Google Sheet to organize all my ideas for the game. I may have made a bit more weapons than necessary, but I'll rebalance them later. I decided to split development into two stages: systems and content. The systems stage will involve creating systems that make the creation of future content easier. I will also be adding a little content in this stage just to test things out. Once that's done, I can move on to the content stage, where I hope to efficiently add a lot of content using the systems I already created. With all of my ideas in order, I got to work on the player model. I made the arms use inverse kinematics, or IK, so they can automatically bend to reach a point. There was a small issue with this when the player turned around, but I found a pull request someone made with a fix and added it to my copy of Godot. Hooray for open source! Next, I set up some basic animations for walking, jumping, and standing. With the basic movement working, I moved on to making an inventory and items to be picked up. With the IK, I can easily make the hands automatically move to a point based on each item. My item system makes use of Godot's resource class. I can configure new items right in the UI. I also made a notebook to display all of this information in-game automatically. To use items, players can click in a direction, and the weapon will attack in the nearest direction that is allowed to. This would be done with a stick on a controller. To make these versatile animations, I simply made another resource that takes coordinates and rotates them based on the direction. Then, it moves the points the arm's IK is focused on to each coordinate. Now, I wanted to make weapons deal damage. However, I want this to be a part of a system of item modifiers. This way, I can drag and drop them onto weapons when I set them up. To make this system work, I created a method that will check all of the item's modifiers to see if any of them have a method matching a string, and call it. I could then call this method at different times to create events that would trigger these item modifiers. For example, the damage dealing starts for damageable hitboxes when the start use method is called for all modifiers. Now, all I have to do is configure a line attack and apply it to the paintbrush, and it just works. I also made this attack modifier call a onHit method for all other modifiers. With this, I was able to create another modifier that spawns a particle when a hit occurs. I also went back and made some smaller changes at this point, including making the player face the direction they are attacking. I then made a trail modifier to visualize the player's attack. I used a line 2D to draw it. The part I was most worried about was creating the actual drawing, but I managed to devise a system surprisingly easily. I would create a giant image that overlaid the background and calculate the pixels I needed to replace. I got to work, and soon I was able to replace the pixels. I calculated the pixels necessary to draw a circular path, but then disaster struck. If I expanded the size of the overlay, the amount of pixels being reloaded each time I drew was creating immense lag. To mend this issue, I replaced the singular image for the overlay with a grid of smaller images that I could change individually. Yay! The player and item system are now completely working. In future devlogs, I will work on procedurally generated levels, enemies, bosses, and other mechanics. Like and subscribe if you want to see that, and I'll see you all next time!